Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Naresh Mago, and with me is Manoj Singh Rana with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 pandemic situation and vaccination program in the country. Prime Minister stresses on the need to continue Jan Bhagidari and Jan Andolan for COVID-19 management. Direct central teams of health specialists be sent to Maharashtra, Punjab and Chhattisgarh in view of high caseload and deaths. Nearly 7 crore 60 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country so far. In Jammu and Kashmir, schools up to class 9 closed till 18th April in view of rising COVID-19 cases. Bihar government orders closure of schools, colleges and coaching institutes till 11th April. Campaigning ends this evening for single-phase assembly elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, and for third-phase polling in West Bengal and Assam. Voting on Tuesday. Centre assures all possible assistance to Uttarakhand government to control forest fire. Easter festival marking the resurrection of Jesus Christ is being celebrated across the globe, and in Miami Open tennis, Yannick Sinner to take on Hubert Hurkacz in the men's singles biggest title clash tonight. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower the guard, follow all the precautions, and all those above 45 years to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today chaired a high-level meeting to review the COVID-19 pandemic situation and vaccination program in the country. Mr. Modi mentioned that the 5-fold strategy of testing, tracing, treatment, COVID-appropriate behavior and vaccination would be effective in curbing the spread of the pandemic if implemented with utmost seriousness and commitment. During the meeting, he directed for sustainable COVID-19 management and awareness in the community. The Prime Minister stressed on the need to continue Jan Bhagidari and Jan Andolan for COVID-19 management. A special campaign for COVID-appropriate behavior with emphasis on 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation at public and workplaces, as well as health facilities, will be organized from the 6th to the 14th of this month. More from our correspondent.
During the meeting, the Prime Minister highlighted the need to ensure effective implementation of containment measures besides the involvement of community volunteers in active case search and management of containment zones. He exhorted that all states need to take required stringent measures with comprehensive restrictions in places witnessing high surge to curb the spread. Mr. Narendra Modi also stressed on the need to enforce COVID-appropriate behavior in the coming days and ensure the availability of beds, testing facilities and timely hospitalization. Mr. Modi called attention to avoid mortality under all circumstances by ramping up healthcare infrastructure, availability of oxygen and ventilators. He also said that it should be ensured that clinical management protocols are followed across all hospitals as well as for those in home care. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
During the review meeting, the Prime Minister directed central teams consisting of public health specialists and clinicians be sent to Maharashtra in view of high caseload and deaths, and likewise to Punjab and Chhattisgarh because of the disproportionate number of deaths being reported there. A detailed presentation was made which highlighted that there is an alarming rate of growth of COVID-19 cases and deaths in the country, with 10 states contributing to more than 91% of cases and deaths due to COVID. It was noted that the situation in Maharashtra, Punjab and Chhattisgarh is of serious concern. It was emphasized that the reasons for the sharper rise in cases could be mainly attributed to the severe decline in compliance of COVID-appropriate behavior, primarily in terms of use of masks and maintaining 2 gaz ki duri. A brief presentation on the performance of COVID-19 vaccination drive was also made, wherein details of the coverage of vaccination in various groups, performance with respect to other countries, and analysis of states' performance was deliberated upon. During the meeting, it was highlighted that all efforts are underway to secure adequate quantities of vaccines to meet the rising domestic requirements, as well as to meet the genuine needs of other countries in the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The Prime Minister directed to continue with the mission mode approach in the states and districts reporting high cases, so that the collective gains of COVID-19 management in the country in the last 15 months are not squandered. The meeting was attended by Principal Secretary to Prime Minister, Cabinet Secretary, Home Secretary, Chairperson of Empowered Group on Vaccine Administration, and Secretary Health, among others.
India has made a landmark achievement of administering nearly 7 crore 60 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses. Continuing with the largest vaccination drive in the world, the nation administered over 27 lakh 38,000 doses yesterday. The vaccination drive was launched on 16th of January with vaccination of healthcare workers. Vaccination of frontline workers began on 2nd of February, whereas from the 1st of March, vaccination of everyone aged above 60 years and above 45 years with specified comorbidities was undertaken. From the 1st of this month, everyone above the age of 45 is being vaccinated. The COVID-19 recovery rate in the country witnessed a slight decline today and stood at 93.14%. In the last 24 hours, over 60,000 people were discharged after recovery. In the same period, 93,249 new cases were reported. The number of active cases in the country today stands at about 6,91,000, which is around 5.54% of the total reported cases. The Health Ministry has informed that 513 COVID-related deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative toll to 1,64,623. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the authorities have closed the schools up to class 9th till the 18th of April from tomorrow in view of the rising trend of COVID-19 cases. The classes from 10th to 12th have been closed for 1 week from tomorrow. Apart from this, all the gatherings for social and customary functions in the Union Territory have been restricted to 200 only after following the necessary COVID SOPs. The Bihar government has ordered closure of schools, colleges and coaching institutes till the 11th of this month in view of rising cases of COVID-19. This decision was taken at a Crisis Management Committee meeting. Our correspondent reports that there will be no public gathering till the end of this month except for funerals and marriages with restrictions. The Odisha government has imposed a night curfew in 10 districts between 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. from tomorrow in view of rising COVID-19 cases. District collectors have been allowed to impose any further restrictions or allow such activities as felt appropriate considering the local situation. Stating that the government is determined to break the chain of coronavirus infections, Maharashtra's Health Minister Rajesh Tope today announced stricter curbs that will be introduced tomorrow onwards. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
In a statement, Mr. Tope has informed that all amusement parks, religious places, saloons, parlours, gyms, indoor game facilities will remain closed. While all political, cultural and social gatherings will remain banned, cinema halls and theatres will also remain shut. Restaurants and bars will only be allowed to offer parcel services, while e-commerce services will continue to run normally. The minister added that all shops, malls and markets will remain closed except for those selling essential commodities. All private offices will have to adopt work from home, while government departments and banking and insurance sectors will continue to operate at 50% staff capacity. Housing societies having more than 5 active cases will be declared as containment zone, and any violation of rules will attract a fine of 10,000 rupees. Gardens and open spaces will remain open, while film and television shootings will continue, with production houses ensuring vaccination and COVID-appropriate behavior in respect of their staff. Mr. Tope said weekend curfew will be enforced to ensure that people do not venture out of their homes, adding that night curfew will continue between 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. daily. The minister said that all these curbs will remain in place till 30th of April. Meanwhile, Leader of Opposition in the State Assembly and BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis has appealed citizens to strictly follow the guidelines and supports the government to flatten the COVID curve. Nisha Rani, AIR News, Mumbai.
The Madhya Pradesh government is considering restriction of the movement of people from neighbouring Chhattisgarh to curb the spread of COVID-19. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, while interacting with the media today, said that COVID-19 is a crisis on humanity.
महाराष्ट्र की सीमा को हमने सील किया है। छत्तीसगढ़ से आने जाने पर भी प्रतिबंध लगेगा। मानवीय दृष्टिकोण से जिनका आना जाना जरूरी है उतना आना जाना होगा और सामान की आवाजाही होगी। जो वस्तुएं लेके ट्रक्स आते हैं, मेरी अपील है अनावश्यक इन राज्यों में न जाएं, लेकिन संक्रमण रुके इसलिए कुछ प्रयास करने जरूरी है। वहां से जो आएंगे और उनका आना आवश्यक है तो पूरी तरह से जांच करके जरूरत पड़ेगी तो उनको आइसोलेशन में रखेंगे, लेकिन आम आवाजाही बंद होगी।
Campaigning came to a close this evening for assembly elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, and for the third phase of polling in West Bengal and Assam. Senior leaders and star campaigners of various parties made last-ditch efforts to woo the voters in the 4 poll-bound states and 1 union territory. 140 assembly constituencies of Kerala, 234 constituencies in Tamil Nadu, and 30 assembly seats in Puducherry will go to polls on Tuesday. While Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry will see a single-phase polling, third phase polling will take place for 31 seats in West Bengal, and final phase of polling will be held in Assam for 40 seats. By-polls to Kanyakumari Lok Sabha seat in Tamil Nadu and Malappuram parliamentary seat in Kerala will also be conducted simultaneously. West Bengal is witnessing 8-phase polling this time, while Assam has 3-phase assembly elections. In West Bengal, most leaders focused on public meetings and mass contact programs in order to make the final appeal to voters, crisscrossing the constituencies on the last day. Polling will be held on the 6th of this month in 31 constituencies spread across 3 districts of Hooghly, Howrah and South 24 Parganas. In this phase, 205 candidates, including 13 women, are in the fray. More from our Kolkata correspondent.
Out of 13 female candidates contesting in the third phase, 4 are from the Trinamool Congress, while 2 from the BJP, 1 each from the CPIM and Congress, while 5 candidates are representing other political parties. Trinamool Congress has fielded 2 sitting MLAs, Nomita Saha in Mograhat Purbo and Ashima Patro, the Minister of Technical Education in Dhonekhali. In Arambagh constituency, the party supremo had dropped the sitting MLA and fielded Sujata Mondol, wife of MP Soumitra Khan, who had joined the BJP. In Howrah, the BJP has fielded 2 actresses, Tanushree Chakraborty in Shampur and veteran actress Papia Adhikari in Uluberia Dokhin, as the party is eyeing to convert their popularity into votes. Congress has fielded Monika Malik Ghosh from Purshura, while Jhuma Koyal from the CPIM is contesting from Bishnupur. Madhuparna Dharshodhuri for AIR News, Kolkata.
In Assam, a total of 337 candidates, including 25 women, are in the fray in the third and final phase of assembly polls. Several ministers of BJP, Ahom Gan Parishad and DPF, along with state BJP president, are in the fray in this phase. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal, NEDA convener Himanta Biswa Sarma, AIUDF President Badruddin Ajmal, Assam Jatiya Parishad President Lorin Jyoti Gogoi, State Congress President Ripun Bora addressed rallies to woo the voters. Meanwhile, all preparations are being made to conduct free, fair and safe polls on Tuesday. We spoke to Joint CEO Assam Rahul Chandradas on the poll preparedness.
We appeal to all the voters to come forward without the fear of COVID, because we have maintained all the COVID protocols in the polling stations. The adequate security arrangement has been made in all the polling stations, including those sensitive and vulnerable. There would be facilities for conveyance to the elder senior citizens and the young voters to come to the polling stations. And in the polling station also there will be adequate facilities like wheelchair. There would be separate waiting state for them. There would be another queue apart from the male-female queue for the senior citizens and the special level.
In Tamil Nadu, polling for the assembly elections in all the 234 constituencies and the by-election for the Kanyakumari Lok Sabha seat is scheduled to be held from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday. The extended hours of voting has been announced due to the prevailing COVID-19 situation. Preventive measures against the pandemic have been put in place in all the polling booths. The voters will be given hand gloves to press the electronic voting machine button so that they can vote without coming into direct contact with it. The polling officials and the electors will be allowed inside the polling booth premises after thermal screening. The polling officials, security personnel and the volunteers will be given a pack of safety materials including sanitizers and face masks in view of the virus threat. The COVID-19 positive patients and those with its symptoms will be permitted to vote by wearing the personal protective gears during the last 1 hour of the polling from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. More from our correspondent.
The election officials have said that those electors above the age of 80 will be provided free transport facilities to come to the polling booth and get back home in Chennai, Trichy and Coimbatore with the help of a taxi aggregator. This facility can be availed by those who did not opt for postal voting earlier. Meanwhile, the state transport corporations are running special buses to ferry the voters to their native places from their places of work or stay so that they can exercise their franchise where they are registered as the electors. Booth slips have been delivered by the polling official at the doorsteps of the voters. The surveillance teams have further tightened the monitoring of cash flow and suspicious movement of people and vehicles to prevent any dispersal of money ahead of the April 6 polling. Jai Singh, AAR News, Chennai.
In Kerala, the last phase of election campaigning witnessed active participation of national leaders and star campaigners of all the three major fronts. More from our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent.
The assembly polls of Kerala will occur in single phase on April 6th, where 957 candidates will be contesting in 140 constituencies across the state. As just one day of silent campaign is left for the election, the necessary arrangements have been already done to conduct the polls in a hassle-free and smooth manner, adhering to strict COVID protocols. There are over 2.75 crores of voters and 40,771 polling booths in the state. Over 3.5 lakh election officials and nearly 60,000 police officials, including central forces, are being deployed for the conduct of polls. Webcasting facilities is provided in all the polling booths to prevent bogus and double voting. The Naxal-affected areas are under the strict vigilance of Special Operations Group and Thunderbolt. Meanwhile, the distribution of polling materials, including voting machines, will begin from tomorrow morning. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 pandemic situation and vaccination program in the country. Prime Minister stresses on the need to continue Jan Bhagidari and Jan Andolan for COVID-19 management, directs central teams of health specialists be sent to Maharashtra, Punjab and Chhattisgarh in view of high caseload and deaths. Nearly 7 crore 60 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country so far. In Jammu and Kashmir, schools up to class 9th closed till 18th of April in view of rising COVID-19 cases. Bihar government orders closure of schools, colleges and coaching institutes till the 11th of April. Campaigning ends this evening for single-phase assembly elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, and for third-phase polling in West Bengal and Assam, voting on Tuesday. Centre assures all possible assistance to Uttarakhand government to control forest fire. Easter festival, marking the resurrection of Jesus Christ, is being celebrated across the globe. And in Miami Open tennis, Yannick Sinner to take on Hubert Hurkacz in the men's singles biggest title clash tonight. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah has assured all possible assistance to the Uttarakhand government to control the forest fires. Chief Minister Tirath Singh Rawat said that he talked to the Home Minister on phone about the increasing incidence of forest fire in the state. He said the centre will also send an NDRF team if required.
मैंने आज ही माननीय केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री जी से बात किया कि गंभीर स्थिति है, उसको निपटने के लिए हमें 2 चॉपर की आवश्यकता है, जो तत्काल माननीय गृह मंत्री जी ने हमको उपलब्ध कराए हैं और आज ही वो हमारे प्रदेश के अंदर आए हैं और निश्चित है कि उससे हम लोग आग में काबू पाएंगे और आम जनता को निजात दिलाएंगे.
In Chhattisgarh, the number of security personnel martyred in the Maoist attack has risen to 23, with a recovery of 21 more bodies from the bordering area of Sukma and Bijapur districts today. Among those who were martyred, 8 personnel belonged to the Cobra Battalion of CRPF, 8 Jawans of the District Reserve Guard, 6 Jawans of Special Task Force and 1 Jawan of Bastaria Battalion. Besides, 28 other Jawans of various security forces were injured in the encounter. The critically injured 13 Jawans have been airlifted to capital Raipur for better treatment. Meanwhile, Home Minister Amit Shah held a high-level review meeting in New Delhi today with the senior officials in the wake of the Naxal attack in Chhattisgarh. Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla, Director Intelligence Bureau Arvind Kumar, and senior CRPF officers were among those who attended the meeting.
President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have expressed anguish at the killing of the security personnel while battling Maoist insurgency in Chhattisgarh. President Kovind extended condolences to the bereaved family, saying the nation shares their pain and will never forget this sacrifice. Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah have also paid tributes to the martyred security personnel. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said the sacrifice of brave martyrs will never be forgotten. He said his thoughts are with the families of those martyred. He wished speedy recovery to those injured. Mr. Shah said that the nation will never forget the valor of its brave security personnel. He extended condolences to the families of the martyred and wished for speedy recovery of those injured. Talking to reporters, the Home Minister also asserted that the country will continue its fight against the enemies of peace and progress.
हमारे जवान शहीद हुए हैं। मैं उन सभी जवानों को श्रद्धांजलि भी देता हूं और उनके परिवारजनों को और देश को इतना विश्वास दिलाना चाहता हूं कि जवानों ने अपना खून जो देश के लिए बहाया है वो व्यर्थ नहीं जाएगा। हमारी लड़ाई और मजबूती के साथ और मक्कमता के साथ और तीव्रता के साथ इन नक्सलियों के खिलाफ चालू रहेगी और हम इसको परिणाम तक ले जाएंगे।
Congress President Sonia Gandhi today paid homage to the Jawans who have given their lives in the Naxal attack in Bijapur, Chhattisgarh, and said the entire country bows before the martyrdom of Jawans. She said we are united in our resolve to combat Naxalism.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the party workers from across the country on the occasion of the Foundation Day of the BJP on the 6th of April. Mr. Modi will address the party workers through video conference at 10:30 a.m. Party President Jagat Prakash Nadda will also deliver his address. On this occasion, various activities will be organized at all booths by the party in the country. The BJP workers will hold a discussion about the policy of the party, and the various welfare schemes of the Narendra Modi government will also be discussed. Veteran actress Shashikala passed away at her residence in Mumbai today. She was 88 years old. More popularly known by her first name, Shashikala Om Prakash Saigal had acted in over 100 movies. She began her career with a small role in the 1945 release Zeenat and went on to appear in popular movies like Bimla, Sujata, Aarti, Anupama, Ai Milan Ki Bela, Waqt, Gumrah, Khoobsurat, Mujhse Shaadi Karogi, and Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham. The actress had also played a notable role in popular television show Sonpari. Shashikala was honored with the prestigious Padma Shri by the Indian government for her unparalleled contribution to the world of cinema and arts in 2007. She was also conferred with the coveted Lifetime Achievement Award at the V. Shantaram Awards in 2009. Apart from this, Shashikala bagged 2 Filmfare Awards for her work in Aarti and Gumrah. Easter is being celebrated across the globe today. It signifies the resurrection of Jesus Christ after his crucifixion and death at Calvary on Good Friday. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have greeted the people on the occasion. In his message, President Kovind said, Jesus Christ is a symbol of humanity, forgiveness, sacrifice, compassion, and truth, and his life teaches peace, love, and fraternity. He urged people to follow these values that will strengthen the bond of love, affection, and harmony in society and increase happiness and prosperity in the nation. The Vice President in his message said that Jesus Christ, revered as the Savior of mankind, illuminated a path of salvation for humanity through love, peace, compassion, and forgiveness. He urged everyone to celebrate Easter by being compassionate towards all human beings. The Prime Minister said, on Easter, we remember the pious teachings of Jesus Christ. He added that Christ's emphasis on social empowerment inspires millions across the world.
And now news from the world of sports.
In tennis, Italian teenager Yannick Sinner will take on 26th seed Hubert Hurkacz in the men's singles summit clash tonight as per Indian Standard Time. Sinner entered play as the number 21 seed and defeated number 14 Karen Khochanov, number 32 Alexander Bublik and number 7 Bautista Agut as he ran through the tournament. Sinner knocked off Roberto Bautista Agut
to reach the finals. In the process, he became just the fourth teenager to earn a berth in the Miami Open title match in the tournament history. The previous three, Andre Agassi, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic, all went on to become number one in the ATP rankings. Poland Hurkacz defeated Russian fourth seed Andrei Rublev 6-3, 6-4 in the semi-finals. In women's doubles, fifth seed Japanese pair of Ina Shibahara and Shuko Aoyama will lock horns with eighth seed Brazilian-American team of Luisa Stefani and Hayley Carter in the title clash tonight. Earlier, in women's singles event, world number one Ashley Barty won her second successive Miami Open title after her Canadian opponent Bianca Andreescu was forced to retire through injury. Eighth-seeded Andreescu retired with a right ankle injury after falling behind 6-3, 4-0. In the BWF Para Badminton Tournament in Dubai, top Indian shuttlers Pramod Bhagat, Sukant Kadam and Nitesh Kumar sailed into the finals of the singles and doubles events in their respective categories. Reigning world champion Manashi Joshi, promising Palak Kohli and top seed Krishna Nagar too entered the final. Prem Kumar would be eyeing 2 gold medals as he entered the men's doubles and mixed doubles finals. In the men's singles final, Bhagat will take on compatriot Nitesh, who defeated fellow Indian Manoj Sarkar in a nail-biting contest 21-19, 22-20. Kadam, who thrashed German Marcel Adam in the semi-finals 21-11, 21-11 and will take on Lucas Mazza in the title clash. Kadam, along with Nitesh, also entered the men's doubles, defeating the Malaysian duo of Muhammad Huzairi Abdul Malik and Muhammad Zulfatihi Jafar 21-19, 19-21, 21-13. Promising Palak Kohli overcame a tough Portuguese challenge from Beatriz Monteiro before winning 21-18, 21-15 to set up a women's singles final against Megan Hollander of the Netherlands, while Krishna Nagar had an easy outing against France's Charles Noakes 21-14, 21-8 in the combined men's singles and women's singles category. A total of 127 shuttlers from 29 countries, including hosts UAE, are competing in the BWF Para Badminton Tournament after more than a year because of the COVID-enforced cancellations. Reshma Tiwari from Sports Desk.
Sabarmati to Dandi March launched by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the inauguration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is passing through Navsari district. AIR correspondent reports that the reenactment of the historic Dandi March of Mahatma Gandhi is marching ahead on the footsteps of Bapu and will reach Dandi tomorrow. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 16 and 38 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 23 and the maximum is expected to be 33. Chennai is likely to have a mainly clear sky. The temperature will vary between 28 and 37 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, it will have a partly cloudy sky. The city will observe minimum temperature of 26 and a maximum of around 37 degrees Celsius. Srinagar is likely to witness thunderstorm with rain. Temperature will hover between 8 and 17 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have a generally cloudy sky towards afternoon or evening. Leh will witness light snow. The minimum temperature will be minus 5 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 7 degrees. Gilgit will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 5 and 18 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have generally cloudy sky with light rain.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 pandemic situation and vaccination program in the country. Prime Minister stresses on the need to continue Jan Bhagidari and Jan Andolan for COVID-19 management. Directs central teams of health specialists be sent to Maharashtra, Punjab and Chhattisgarh in view of high caseload and deaths. Nearly 7 crore 60 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country so far. In Jammu and Kashmir, schools up to class 9 closed till 18th April in view of rising COVID-19 cases. Bihar government orders closure of schools, colleges and coaching institutes till 11th April. Campaigning ends this evening for single-phase assembly elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, and for third-phase polling in West Bengal and Assam. Voting on Tuesday. Centre assures all possible assistance to Uttarakhand government to control forest fires. Easter festival marking the resurrection of Jesus Christ is being celebrated across the globe. And in Miami Open tennis, Yannick Sinner to take on Hubert Hurkacz in the men's singles biggest title clash tonight. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.